This is your morning dose of Jesus right here on the God's Recording Podcast. Let's get to it. Here's your morning dose of Jesus, Monday, February 5th, 2024. Psalm 63, 1 through 3, New King James Version. O God, you are my God. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land where there is no water. So I have looked for you in the sanctuary to see your power and your glory, because your loving kindness is better than life. My lips shall praise you. There is nothing like God's presence. You know, honestly, I am more hungry, more than ever before, for God's presence. I don't want you all to be discouraged. I don't want you all to lose sight of whose child you are. These last few days for me personally have been rough. But one place I have found joy, peace, understanding, and so much more. Honestly, to keep it real with you all, is in God's presence. God's presence. There's no place I'd rather be than in God's presence. So as you go throughout this day, as you start this new week, I want to encourage you to get into God's presence. Turn off your devices. Put your focus on the Lord. And be reminded that no matter where you are or what you're doing, the number one place you need to be in, not just on a once a week basis, but whenever you can, every chance you get, be in God's presence. Deliverance happens in God's presence. Breakthrough happens in God's presence. Healing happens in God's presence. Anything is bound to happen in God's presence. And most importantly, there's two things you got to remember when you're in God's presence. One, thank Him for what He's done and for what He's going to do. And two, be in His presence to recognize who He is, how holy He is, how mighty and powerful He is. God's presence. There's no place I'd rather be. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? It's up to you now. Let this morning dose of Jesus encourage you to dig deeper in the Lord and find out more of what the fuss is when it comes to the Lord. I guarantee you your life will never be the same. I guarantee you this. You think you done seen it all? Or you think you have seen your best days? You think you have seen great moments? Wait until you get into God's presence. What are you thirsty for? What are you hungry for? He's available to us. Are we going to surrender and make ourselves available to Him? I'm here to tell you truly as a believer that at the end of the day, I love God's presence. Not because I go to Him expecting Him to do whatever I ask of Him if it's according to His will. But I love God's presence because it's a wonderful place to be. And not only that, when I go throughout my walk of life, it's just good to feel Him around me. My friends, don't take somebody else's word for it. Get into God's presence for yourself. Hear me good. Hear me good. I could tell you about God's presence all morning long, but it's up to you to get into God's presence for yourself. That is it for this morning's morning dose of Jesus here on the God's Recording Podcast. Join me this coming Wednesday, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a brand new audio episode of the God's Recording Podcast. I will be joined by Miss Helena Williams. Until then, this is Reverend Bertram B.J. Major signing off, telling you all to stay great, stay safe, be blessed, and this has been your morning dose of Jesus here on the God's Recording Podcast.